Hello student, in today's class we are going to discuss probability formula. So there is a disclaimer, the images, text and other material used in our presentation are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. Now, empirical probability. Let n be the total number of trials. The empirical probability PE of an event E is given by P equals to number of trial in which the event happened upon the total number of trials. The probability of each event lies between 0 and 1. Sum of all the probabilities or possibilities of an event is 1. Probability of outcomes in a coin toss. So suppose a coin is tossed at random, we can reasonably assume that each outcome, head or tail, is as likely to occur as the other. So the outcomes, head or tails, are equally likely. So the probability of getting a head or a tail is 1 by 2. So probability E, we can say that number of outcomes favorable to an event E upon number of all possible outcomes of the experiment. Next, probability of a problem being solved by multiple individuals. If a problem is given to a person A, B, C dash 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 to A dash 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 are whose chances to solving it are 1 upon A1, comma 1 upon B1, comma 1 upon C1 dash 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 1 upon R1 respectively, then the probability that the problem will be solved 1 minus in the bracket 1 minus 1 upon A into 1 minus 1 upon B into 1 minus 1 upon C dash 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 1 minus 1 upon R. Next, probability of winning in a coin toss game. If two boys A and B are playing a game in which they throw a coin alternately till one of them get a head and wins the game, then the probability that A win the game if he started the game is 1 by 2. Next one is the probability of contradiction between two persons statement. A fact is stated by two person A and B. If probability of speaking the truth by A is A small a and B is small b, then the probability that they contradict each other is small a into 1 minus b plus 1 minus small a into b. Probability of a leap year having 53 Tuesday or any specific day. So the probability that a leap year selected at random will have 53 Tuesday or any other particular day is 2 upon 7. Probability of a non-leap year having 53 Thursday or any specific day will become. So the probability that a non-leap year selected at random will have 53 Thursday or any other particular day is 1 upon 7. Next. Thank you. Hello student, in today's class we are going to discuss ratio and proportion formula. So there is a disclaimer, the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. Now, types of ratio, definition of ratio, we can see. So the ratio of A to B, we can write it in the form of A upon B or we can represent by A colon B. So we say that A ratio B. Equivalent ratio. So A upon B equals to C upon D. So we can write it A into D equals to B into C. Simplifying ratio. So A upon B equals to A divided by greatest common divisor of A and B upon B divided by the greatest common divisor of A and B. Then we simplifying the ratio of A upon B. When GCD is the greatest common, where GCD is the greatest common divisor. Next one is let X ratio Y and M ratio N be two ratios, then M into X ratio N into Y is called a mixed ratio. Next one is the mixed ratio of two equal ratio is called a duplicate ratio as. So duplicate ratio of X ratio Y is X square ratio Y square. The square root of a certain ratio is called is subduplicate. So the subduplicate ratio of X ratio Y is under root X ratio under root Y. Same way, the cube of a certain ratio is called triplicate ratio. So the triplicate ratio of A ratio B is A cube ratio B cube. Next one is the cube root of a certain ratio is called subtriplicate ratio. So the subtriplicate ratio of A ratio B is cube root of A ratio cube root of B. Next one is the reciprocal of quantities of a ratio is called its inverse. So the reciprocal or inverse ratio of A ratio B is 1 upon A ratio 1 upon B. So compound ratio of two or more ratios says A upon B, comma C upon D, comma E upon F, so on is, we can write it in the form of A into C into E in numerator plus so on upon B into D into F and so on in denominator. So that is product of the numerator upon product of the denominator. Next. Definition of proportion. Definition and types. So first we see the definition of the proportion. So A upon B equals to C upon D. So we can write it in the form of A ratio B and double colon is representation of the proportion. So we get A ratio B proportionate C ratio D. So in this form, A is called first proportion, B is called second proportion, C is called third proportion and D is called fourth proportion. Now cross multiplication. So when we cross multiplying two ratios which are equal, so it will become A ratio D, A into D equals to B into C. So next one is continued proportion. So if A upon B equals to B upon C, then B is the mean proportion between A and C and represented by B square equals to A into C, or we can say that continued proportion. Direct proportion. So if X and Y are directly proportional, then X upon Y equals to K, or we can say that X equals to KY, where K is constant. Inverse proportion. So if X and Y are inversely proportional, then X into Y equals to K, or we can say that Y equals to K upon X, where K is a constant. Next one is possible deduction from properties of proportion. If four quantities A, B, C and D form a proportion, many other proportion may be deduced by the property of fraction. The result of these operations are very useful. So invertendo. First one is, so if A upon B equals to C upon D, then we can say that B upon A equals to D upon C. Next one is alternando. So if A upon B equals to C upon D, then we can say that A upon C is equals to B upon D. Next one is componendo. So if A upon B equals to C upon D, so we can also say that A plus B upon B equals to C plus D upon D. Next one is dividendo. So if A upon B equals to C upon B, C upon D, then we can say that A minus B upon B equals to C minus D upon D. Componendo and dividendo. So if A upon B equals to C by D, then we can say that A plus B upon A minus B equals to C plus D upon C minus D. Next one. Thank you. Hello student, in today's class we are going to discuss partnership formula. So there is a disclaimer: the images, text and other material used in our presentation are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. Now partnership concept. If a group of n person invested different amount for different period, then their profit is the ratio of A into T1, ratio B into T2, ratio C into T3, ratio D into T4, and so on till X into Tn. Here, first person invested amount of A for T1 period, second person invested amount B for T2 period, and so on. So, formula for calculating profit, capital, and time. So, profit equals to capital into time. In same ratio, profit will be share in capital into time. So, capital become profit upon time. Same way, time will, if we calculate, so profit upon capital. So we get the time. Thank you. Hello student, in today's class we are going to discuss coordinate geometry formula. Now there is a disclaimer: the images, text and other material used in our presentation are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concern or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the same. So, axes and points in coordinate geometry. So, these are the representation of the axes and points. So, there are four quadrants in a plane. These are the x and y lines. And in these two lines, x and y, there will be four quadrants: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. In from the origin, this is called the origin point, and from the origin right hand side there is x is positive and left hand side x is negative, and from origin to upward is positive y and downward is negative y. So origin O represented by 0 0 coordinate, p equals to x comma y, we can take representing any point p by the coordinates of x and y. So equation of x axis equals, which is equals to y equals to 0. Same way equation of y axis will be x equals to 0. Representation of points. So we represent the points by the axis x and y. So if we choose 7 and 4, so first we take x and then we choose y. X is called ordinate and y called abscissa. So 7, first we go from origin to left hand side. If as 7 is positive, so we go left hand side, right hand side from origin 7 points, and then we go upward. If y is also positive, so 4 points upward, then we get 7 and 4. Same way, minus 8 and 5 represented in this diagram, minus 5 and 5, and 10 and minus 8. Polar coordinates of a point. So pole, reference point in a polar coordinate system, the coordinate is called a pole. when each point on a plane of a 2D coordinate system is decided by a distance from a reference point and an angle is taken from the reference direction, it is also known as polar coordinate system. So, this is the representation of the polar coordinate system. So, PXY is called polar coordinate system, which represented by x represented by r cos theta and y is r sin theta. So, sin theta become y upon r because it become a right angle triangle. We can clearly see that. So, sin theta is perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So, y upon r. Same way, cos theta become x upon r. So, x square plus y square equals to r square. We can also say that. So, tan theta become y upon x. Midpoint formula. So, a midpoint is the middle point of a line segment which is equidistant from both the endpoints. So, we can see that if we need to calculate the midpoint distance from A to C and B to C, so we can calculate by using the formula. Because we need to calculate the coordinate of the C. So we have the coordinate of A, which is x1 y1. We have the coordinate of B, which is x2 y2. So we can let coordinate of C as a x and y. So we can say that midpoint C become x1 plus x2 by 2, which is representing x coordinate of C, and y1 plus y2 by 2, which represent y coordinate of C. Next, distance formula. So distance between 2 points in the length of a line segment that connect the 2 points in a plane, A represented by x1 y1 and B represented by x2 y2. So we can say that the distance between A and B, AB is under root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Next one. Intersection formula, internal division of a line. So this is a point of P in between A and B. So we have coordinate of A, which is x1 y1. We have also coordinate of B, which is x2 y2, and there is a point P which divide AB line into m1 ratio m2. So we need to calculate the coordinate of P. So we get the coordinate of P, which is become m1 into x2 plus m2 into x1 upon m1 plus m2, which is the x coordinate, and y coordinate will become m1 into y2 plus y2 into m2 into y1 upon m1 plus m2. So we get the y coordinate of P. Next, external division. So in external division, AP ratio PB become m1 ratio m2. So we can see in this diagram, P is the point out of the line A and B, and P also is a imaginary point. So the formula become of the coordinate of P of x and y. So we can calculate m1 into x1 x2 m1 into x2 minus m2 into x1 upon m1 minus m2. This is the coordinate of x, and coordinate of y become m1 into y2 minus m2 into y1 upon m1 minus m2. So we get the coordinate of P of x and y. Next, slope of a line. So the slope of a line is a measure of its steepness. It is the change in y coordinate with respect to the change in x coordinate. So slope of a line represented by m, which we know that tan theta. We always known the slope as a tan theta. So tan theta formula become y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. We can clearly see in this diagram. So slope of a line also we can see in this diagram. There is a theta which represented it. So we can calculate the theta. So the standard equation of a line become ax plus by plus c equals to 0. Next formula of slope of line. So this is the diagram of a slope of line which cut x and y line from 2 points. So the slope become m, slope represented by m, which is equals to minus a upon b. Next, equation of a straight line in various form. So point slope form, first one. So slope of a line AP equals to slope of line AB. We can see in this diagram. So the line is AB, which coordinates are coordinate of A is x1 y1, coordinate of B is x2 y2, and coordinate of P is x and y. So we can say that y minus y1 upon x minus x1 equals to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Or we can say that y minus y1 equals to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 into x minus x1. So we get y minus y1, and we know that y equals to, so we just put the value of m, which is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So we get y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. Next, slope intercept form. So slope we know represented by m. So intercept of on y axis equals to c. So y minus c equals to m into x minus 0. So y equals to mx plus c. This is the diagram representing by the slope intercept form. Slope of a linear equation in standard form. So ax plus by plus c equals to 0. So we can say that by equals to minus ax plus minus c. So y become minus ax upon b minus c by b. So y we know that mx plus c. So compare it. So compare m when we get minus a upon b equals to minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of y. Next one is relation between slope of two parallel lines. So these are the two parallel lines. We know that the straight line formula is a1x plus b1y plus c1 equals to 0, and slope m1 equals to tan theta. Same way the second line is a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals to 0. So m2 equals to tan theta. So if two lines are parallel to each other, their slope will be equal. So m1 equals to m2. So minus a1 upon b1 equals to minus a2 upon b2. Or we can say that a1 upon a2 equals to b1 upon b2. Next, relationship between slope of two perpendicular lines. So this is the diagram, slope between two perpendicular lines. So line equation is a1x plus b1y plus c1 equals to 0, and second line is a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals to 0. So first line slope is m1 equals to tan theta, second m2 become tan 90 plus theta, or we can say that minus cot theta. So if two lines are perpendicular to each other, m1 into m2 become tan theta into 1 minus, or we can say that minus cot theta. So m1 tan theta into 1 minus cot theta minus cot theta. So m1 into m2 become minus 1 in that form. Next, intercept form of a line. So this is the diagram of intercept form of a line. So intercept at x-axis equals to a, intercept at y-axis equals to b. So x upon a plus y upon b equals to 1. So minus y upon b equals to x upon a minus 1, we can say that. So we get 1 equals to x upon a plus y upon b. Equation of line parallel and perpendicular to a given line. So first one is the equation of a line parallel to the line ax plus by plus c equals to 0. So we say that we can say that ax plus by equals to k. Next, equation of line perpendicular to the line ax plus by plus c equals to 0. So we can say that bx minus ay equals to k. So condition for solution of system of linear equation in two variables for no solutions. So if two lines are a1x plus b1y plus c1 equals to 0 and a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals to 0 are parallel to each other, then m1 equals to m2 and a1 upon a2 equals to b1 upon b2 but not equals to c1 upon c2. Now, no intersecting point, no solution possible. Next, for infinite solution in the condition of the solution of system of linear equation in two variables. So for infinite solution, so if two lines are coincident on each other, then a1 upon a2 equals to b1 upon b2 equals to c1 upon c2. For unique solution, so if two lines intersect at a single point, then we can say that the slope m1 is not equals to m2 and that is a1 by a2 is not equals to b1 by b2. Next, for concurrent line. So concurrent line is, we can see the diagram. Intercept by line x upon a plus y upon b equals to 1 between both axes. So which is equals to under root a square plus b square. Line ax plus by equals to 0 always passes through origin. Next, angle between two straight lines. So theta is the acute angle. Let angle between two lines theta and their slope are m1 and m2, then tan theta become mod m1 minus m2 upon m1 into m2 upon 1 plus m1 into m2 in mod form. So theta become tan inverse mod m1 minus m2 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. Next, distance between two points and line. Distance between points and line. So distance of a line ax plus by plus c equals to 0 from a point x1 and y1. So we can calculate by the formula mod a into x1 plus b into y1 plus c upon under root a square plus b square. Next one is distance between origin and line. So the distance of line ax plus by plus c equals to 0 from origin, we get mod in form of mod c upon under root a square plus b square. Distance between two parallel lines. So when we need to calculate the distance between two parallel lines, so diagram is given. So a1 ax plus by plus c1 equals to 0, ax plus by plus c2 equals to 0. So the distance is under mod c1 minus c2 upon under root a square plus b square. Now we need to calculate the centroid in triangle. So the diagram is that, so centroid G become G equals to in the bracket x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3, comma y coordinate become y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3. We get the coordinate of centroid of a triangle. In center of the triangle. So this is the diagram of the triangle in which we have in center. So in center I, the coordinate become a into x1 plus b into x2 plus c into x3 upon a plus b plus c. This is the x coordinate, and y coordinate is a into y1 plus b into y2 plus c into y3 upon a plus b plus c. Equation of a circle. So this is the diagram. So where a and b are the coordinate of the center of the circle and r is the radius of radius of the circle. So equation of circle is x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square equals to r square. Equation of a circle if center is origin. So this is the diagram. Then the formula become x square plus y square equals to r square. Equation of the circle. This is the diagram. So area enclosed by mod of x plus mod of y is equals to a, or we can say that 2a square. Thank you.